Good morning, revolutionaries.
Good morning, America. Good morning, world. Good morning, panel. Good morning to our viewers. And of course, good morning, Chanda. Good morning, Oz. Good morning, Amos. I hope you guys did well the last 4 weeks. We were not here. I was on holidays, and last week I met Katie and her husband, and we had dinner together, and it was great. And she sends greetings to our viewers, and yeah. But now we are back, and as usual, we are starting with the question: how are you doing? I would like to start with Chanda. How are you doing?
We're doing good. I mean, we had to battle the smoke and the fires for the last 2-3 weeks. It's been dangerous, hazardous air quality. So on top of being quarantined, we've been told to stay in our house, shut the windows. So it's made it even more difficult. But today, for the first time, we can see across the street. You can take a deep breath in. So that's exciting.
All right, this is halfway good news today. And Amos, how are you doing in New Jersey?
We're surviving. We still have low numbers, though I expect numbers to shoot up because they just opened up indoor dining and other things. Schools are not obligatorily open in person. They do as they think is right, which is a good approach. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. And Oz, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. You know why?
Why?
Because No Joke is back, and we get to see our friends, Marcus and
Thank
Amos.
you.
I missed my brothers.
Yes, I was missing the show as well. Yeah, and a lot happened in the 4 weeks I was absent. Luckily I was on my island with my girlfriend when the strange Republican National Congress took place, and I only read segments, and what I read was. It was fucking crazy, and and then I came back, and the news did not go much better. We all know what Chanda just said about the fires in California and Oregon, and in parts I heard also Washington is concerned, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
worst air quality in the nation, Portland, Vancouver area. 500, Chanda, 500, bad air.
Yeah, 500 particulates. Yeah,
this is horrible. Right. Anyway, this is No Joke. We are starting our show today, and as usual, we are looking back in history. And for this, I found a funny side note in history, and it all happened in 1959. And I don't know if you can remember Khrushchev. He was the former president of the USSR, and he was known for his short temper. And from time to time, he took off his shoe and he slammed it on the desk, to give more power to what he said, give more power to his words. And, he was once on a visit in the US, and they also led him to the 20th Century Fox studio, and he met all the stars. I think he met Shirley MacLaine, Humphrey Bogart, etc., and they had conversations with him. Everything was cool until one guy showed up. I think he was one of the studio bosses, and he was known as an absolute anti-communist, and he confronted Khrushchev with something he did not like very much, and this caused an explosion there, and it led to a clear threat. What led to the competition around the missiles. And later in the day, it was also intended that he had to visit Disneyland, and he was not allowed to do this because the American government was afraid that someone could attack Khrushchev or anything of that kind, and so they canceled the trip. And this was nothing which made Khrushchev's mood any better, and he exploded again. And he was not very, very happy with his visit in America. And in the end, it was no Disney for Khrushchev. And just a funny side note in these very dark times, I think. Did you guys know this incident? Have you heard of this?
Nope.
I did not know it neither. Anyway, we're going on right now, and we have an Osment. We have not a segment, we have an Osment right now, and I think Oz has something prepared, something interesting about Joe Biden.
Well, honestly, I don't know if it's interesting, but it seems like a lot of people in the chat get bored when I start talking about this. But the big question to a lot of folks out there this week, I think Crystal, Chanda, and I talked about this yesterday on the dive, is that can't we just all be adults and accept the truth about our candidate? You know, they're trying to make Joe Biden as the next coming of Jesus, and we've already had that with Barack Obama. It didn't work out so well. So what I'm doing here is I'm just highlighting a couple of points here, and it's not specifically to bash Biden. It's just we want to be honest about Biden. We know what we're going to vote for. So here, let me run this clip and just some history on Joe Biden.
Biden may have more explaining to do. The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed him.
And I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Joe Biden was victimized by the truth.
Bye-bye Biden. He may not know it yet, but I think this is going to be very difficult for him to recover.
Is Joe Biden dead meat, yes or no?
I think so.
Bob?
He's in terminal condition.
That's ironic.
Eleanor?
Yes, unless he comes in third in Iowa.
Morton?
Dying.
I say dead.
Yikes. Now, I think what stood out to me the most is the fact that the media was actually doing their job and being objective and telling you the facts.
That's something we don't get in today's media. Now, Biden's been rehabilitated now. How many times? 4? 3 times he's been rehabilitated to the point where he made it to the vice presidency of the United States. So we know about his history over and over again. I've got this graphic up here that shows the differences between Trump and Biden. Okay, here we go. Endless forest interventions. Biden's for it. Deregulating Wall Street. Biden's for it. Job-killing China trade deals. TPP. Biden's for it. Trans-Pacific Partnership. Biden was for it. Bailing out crooked banks. Biden was part of that. Fracking. He's for it. Fracking. Okay, Yemen genocide. Yeah, and then no. But who else is on the same political dichotomy as that? Those two are identical on these issues. Now, the context of this varies a little bit, but for the most part, everything Biden has done has been for that. Now, here, the next clip backs this up. So let's take a look at this.
I've laid out an agenda for economic recovery that will restore a sense of security for working families with a clean energy strategy that is a place for the energy workers right here in Western Pennsylvania. I am not banning fracking. Let me say that again. I am not banning fracking, no matter how many times Donald Trump lies about me.
Well, Donald Trump's not banning fracking either, Joe. So, and lastly, this is who Joe Biden is. This is, I clipped this from Jimmy. So let's take a quick look at this.
Biden is? This is to Joe Biden.
Crime bill.
Take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, try to change their behavior. That's why we do in this bill. We have drug treatment and we have other treatments to try to deal with it. But they are in jail. Away from my mother, your husband, our families.
That's who Joe Biden is.
That's who Joe Biden is. Honestly, we just, this is, I don't think there's a debate on this. Joe Biden's come up the ranks and he is but Trump, but super fascist, but, doing what he's doing. Now, I'm not going to lay this all at Joe Biden's feet. This is how Washington, D.C. operates. But with this last clip here, I happen to agree 1,000% with Hedges here. I think he makes it perfectly clear who the one is to blame for the Bidens and the Trumps in this country. This is my point, and then you guys can trash me or argue or whatever. But this is the point I'm trying to make.
Well, the problem is that the Democratic elite, which is a creation of corporate power, it's the more acceptable face of corporate power. They're not naked misogynists, although Biden, look at Anita Hill, and they are not openly Islamophobes or racists. Although, of course, the structures that they support oppress women, especially poor women, oppress people of color. Biden was instrumental, along with Clinton, in more than doubling our prison population. And people forget tripling or quadrupling the length of sentences. And half of our prison population have never been charged with physically harming another person. And 94% of them never got a jury trial. I mean, it is the latest iteration of slavery, neo-slavery. And the Democrats, because they wanted, and Biden was at the epicenter of this, to seize back the law and order issue from the Republicans, created it. So, but the Democrats are terrified of Sanders and Warren, although I find them very tepid figures.
Tepid.
And if we look at history, we will see that even the whiff of socialism has always seen the business elites, the industrial class, make an alliance with the fascists. This was always a very uncomfortable relationship between the German industrialists and the Nazis, who were an array of buffoonish characters, including Hitler, who couldn't even.
So we don't have any substantive candidates in this election cycle. We have bad and worse. So would you all agree that it's the oligarchs that are running the whole show, and they're using their sock puppets, which are the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, to not only push out any third parties, i.e. the Green Party, which they did this week, and future things. So that's my point. Oh, sure, you're going to vote for Biden because Trump, but what are you going to do to stop another Trump or another Biden happening? The math just doesn't work out. So that's my presentation. It was a little long, but I wanted to give you multiple sources for this point of view.
Who wants to start?
Yeah, go for it, Marcus.
Okay. First of all, I think it's pretty unfair to compare Joe Biden with Trump. Did Biden have a spur in the 60s?
A spur?
Yes, he was. Donald Trump, a bone spur. Yeah. He did not have a bone spur, I think.
Oh, yeah.
This makes him different, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And
Rush Limbaugh's
all the other stuff that we learned is, well, it's nothing new. I think we know it. Our viewers know it. They know exactly what's going on. They know exactly where the real power lies. And they're exactly what they are capable to do. And nothing which would surprise me. I expected this. Well,
yeah.
Maybe I'm cynical, or I don't know, but I expected nothing else from Joe Biden or from that direction of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Chanda?
There's so much to unpack in what you brought, Oz. I just got to say that good job. That was a lot of information all rolled up to unpack. Did Biden even place in Iowa this time around? I mean, we were flashing back to 20 years, 30 years ago, and they were like, if he doesn't place 30, he's done. I think he placed 6 this time around, and now he's our nominee. But, this whole, he is for the working class. He's kind of pushing this campaign now of he's against, Park Avenue, and it's the poor against the rich. He is the rich, the fact that Chris says it clear that he suppresses poor women and people of color. He always has the systemic racism that the Democratic Party engulfs, but then cries about, yet does nothing about. If Biden wins, we just continue down this road of the same shit. I don't think that we can survive either of these men as president, honestly.
Okay, Amos, you're up, man.
You'll be surprised that I completely agree with you on this point. I think that it's very clear that it's the corporations and wealthy class that brought to this situation where both parties basically bought. And unless the system changes and the election method and fundraising changes, we're going to be locked in this situation. So we need to keep pushing. And I'm totally with Marcus on that. I think a third party after the elections would be a very strong move. Hopefully that happens, and that will, at the very least, force the Democratic Party to re-anchor itself in its traditional values. We're very different place today than we were like half a century ago, and that's due to the way the system is constructed. It basically, every organisms have evolution. Cells grow and die based on those evolutionary rules. Parties are the same way, and social constructs are the same way. We have a set of rules, and they cause a certain evolutionary trend to emerge. And what we got out of this system is bad, and it needs to be recalibrated. We're at a very, very bad spot in history right now. Yeah. And I think, have you tried shutting the U.S. down and starting it up again?
The Dems and Republicans won't let us near the cord.
Yeah. There's another thing in the last clip which I would like to mention. What Chris Hayes says when he says that the Democratic Party is not openly racist or openly against women or openly against poor, etc. But they have the structures, to cause exactly this. And now, if I imagine, if I have someone in front of me, there's someone who smashes his fist in my face, and there I have someone who stabbed me in the back. I think, who is more despicable, right? And I think in this case, it's clearly the Democratic Party, because they pretend to be something which they are definitely not.
I agree, and that's what. The hypocrisy of the Democratic Party, I think, hurt me the most. I voted Democrat my whole entire life. I was rank file. And then when Bernie launched, I went in expecting it to be even-handed and fair. And, I was a Democrat until I saw inside the Democratic Party. And I was completely, shocked that, oh my God, they are not for the working class. They don't support any of the values that we do. They support the corporate elite, and then they expect us to just fall in line. And the hypocrisy of it just completely turned me off to the Democratic Party after 30 years of being a Democrat.
I think sorry, Amos.
No, I think it's of course it's enraging when you find you were betrayed by your best friend. But with that said, you have to also recognize how mega hypocritical the Republicans are and what they're doing. Even the current example with the RBG replacement. What's that?
That goes without saying, though. We know how bad the Republicans are. The Democrats put their arm around you and say, you're with us, as they're stabbing us in the back. The Republicans just punch us in the face. We know we're going to be screwed by the Republicans at every turn.
Yeah, but if we highlight just the corruptness of the our Democratic side, and then we're just feeding into the Republican propaganda and Republican agenda. That's my fear.
Okay. I think where we're coming from, but as an European, as a German, I cannot speak of the Democratic Party as our or my party. And this is exactly the point, and this is exactly why, in my opinion, a third, fourth, or fifth party must be done directly after this mess is done with the elections. Be it Trump again or be it Biden.
I hate to say it'll never happen, guys. I have worked for every new party trying to launch in the United States in the last 4 years with progressive values. And by design, the system will crush them. They'll never reach the threshold. They'll never make ballot access. It's not going to happen.
So what's your suggestion then, Chanda? What should
I don't have a suggestion. I see the system's going to break down because they're not allowing us to have an outlet at all for the working class of this country.
Usually I'm the pessimist in the room, but I think that I'm a little more optimistic for two reasons. One is that the Bernie's running has caused a monumental project that collected names and connections of people who were already with that mindset of progressive politics, and that would become a very huge asset in the future. And the second one is that we have more and more young people coming online to vote, and those people understand, they get their news from multiple sources. They don't just listen to the propaganda from the mainstream media, and they're smart, and they understand what's going on much better than boomers and older generation, and that's going to have also a significant effect going forward. So I'm a little more optimistic.
Great point. I agree with both of those points. And that is the only thing that gives me hope, is the energy that I see on the ground for the last 4 years, people actually getting involved that were never involved. So excellent point. I agree.
Right. So I think we should go on, and I would like to give the next topic to Amos. And Amos, please go for it.
Before we go into that topic, I think we have to mention RBG's passing. It's
Yes.
The most unfortunate thing that has happened, not only like in terms of personal, I really think she was a great person, but also in its implication and the fact that Republicans are now hypocritically going to push a nomination, even though it's like less than 2 months from the election, when Obama was trying to do so half a year before his election. Republicans, and particularly McConnell, blocked him, and so the hypocrisy and the lying is at such a blatant level at this point that it's just like you're willing to throw away all your ideology or ideological point of view just to score political points and achieve your agenda.
Do you think they're going to be able to push another justice through before?
What would stop them?
What would stop them? How did the Republicans stop the Democrats when Obama was in power?
Yeah, Obama had 1.5 years and still couldn't get anybody through.
Yeah, well, they blocked him at that point. From then, I believe the nomination process is now a simple majority. So all they need is 51 votes to do that.
So they changed it
to confirm.
They changed it. You didn't need 60. Now you don't need 60. They changed it. Okay, well, say hello to your next fascist judge.
Oh, can I just give you guys my favorite Ruth quote? And it is, "Fight for things that you care about, but do it in a way that leads others to join you."
Yeah.
Great quote.
Yeah, she's spoken to her niece like a few days ago, and she knew she was dying. She said her most fervent wishes are that her her substitute nomination will not happen until after the election. And unfortunately, that's not the case. And what is so significant about it is that we're going to be locked in a 6-3 conservative to liberal judge ratio, which is, and we're talking about not just mildly conservative, but extreme conservatives on the bench. And this means these things are for life. So we're talking about hopelessness for an entire generation of millions of Americans, which is, to me, it's not bearable. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think people are going to go to the streets if they try to nominate in the last minute, and it's just going to be ugly sooner than even we thought, sooner than the elections.
We both know that they will do everything, to install another judge. Everything, because even if they would lose the election, the Supreme Court course would be ultra conservative. So and I don't want to put gasoline into the fire, but if they succeed doing this, putting another judge into the Supreme Court, then it doesn't make much difference if you vote for Biden or Trump.
Well, it still does, because there's still a couple of remedies. I don't believe in the remedy of stacking up the court, like expanding the number of judges, because that's short-sighted. But reducing their term limit is definitely something that needs to be done, because right now for life is just too much.
Okay.
If their limit was like 8 years or so, that would be much more bearable. Even if your opposition gets the leg up.
But how likely would this be once the Democrats being in power, now putting this on the desk again,
It would, because they're in a disadvantage here, and for a long period of time, unending period of time in the political terms.
Okay, with the existing Supreme Court, yeah, of course, yeah. I see. Yeah, you're right.
Just remember, the Democrats have been pushing through the ultra-conservative judges that Trump's been appointing ever since he took office. What does that tell you? It's a problem. It's going to take people getting in the streets. So, there you go.
All right, let me launch into my segment here. So what was very disturbing to hear and reminiscent of the eugenics in the U.S. was that there were reports of women under custody of ICE having been treated and sterilized, and the number of these witnesses that are saying that they were received hysterectomies and other treatments that landed them sterile is growing. In particular, there's a woman that came forward as a whistleblower that started all of this, and her name is Dawn Wooten. She's since then been terminated, and that was after she complained about COVID-19 related problems in that facility. The facility is Irwin County Detention Center, which is in Ocilla, Georgia. And so far, there's been 27 official complaints, and they're mounting. They've collected more information from other women since. What the initial complaints were that they were refusing to test detainees for COVID-19. They were shredding medical requests submitted by detained immigrants. There was fabrication of medical records. They were allowing employees to work while symptomatic and awaiting COVID-19 test results. And they were withholding information from detainees and employees about who has tested positive. And the list goes on, under reporting COVID-19 cases and allowing the transfer of detainee immigrants, including those who have been tested positive for the virus. So that's just regarding COVID-19, and the fact that there was sterilization things going on there is just totally horrifying. We have, unfortunately, nice history of that happening with minorities, and that's disturbing. They said there was a doctor there, a gynecologist called Mahendra Amin, who performed a huge amount of these hysterectomies. So far, there's only been 2 that came that officially came forward, but apparently there's more. And people said that he was called the uterus collector at the detention center, and women were just simply not said, even in cases where there was some sort of an issue, health issue. Other doctors said that was not necessarily the best way to deal with that, and those women were not told what was going to happen, were not asked for permission. So it's greatly disturbing. And this is not the only place where it's happening. They also have a case pending regarding a prison in California, where similar things and hysterectomies were going on. So it's more prevalent than we thought this week. I think there's going to be a couple of links in the notes after the show that you could follow if you're interested in the particulars.
Are these ICE facilities privately owned and privately operated? So
Yes.
yet again, we're letting the prison industrial complex dictate what's going to happen in these places.
Very, very much so. Those are all privately owned detention centers. I forget the name of the detention center, detention company, but yes, it's a privately owned.
So yet again, another example, and Snowden talks about this a lot, is how the government, the United States government, loves to subcontract stuff out. So that way they're not the ones that are actually responsible for the things that are happening, because it's the subcontractors who are not the government, which are the government doing these things.
That's implausible deniability. There's no way.
Exactly.
The buck stops with this federal government. So if they can do that shell game, they're getting away with, they're actually outsourcing eugenics, outsourcing war, outsourcing COVID response, outsourcing everything. So what good are they? So there you go.
Exactly.
Well, that's
Right
that's
on.
my story.
Okay.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yes. Well, and we're coming now to Germany, and we have to talk a little bit about the German police. And in the past years, we had several scandals around the German police, which is supposed to have a good portion of right-wingers or ultra-right-wingers in their rows, or even Nazis. And it comes more and more into the public what's going on in the police here. We see that there are a good number of people, meanwhile, blackmailed, or they are receiving threat letters to their private addresses. Normally, those people are sheltered. Those addresses are not to be found in a telephone book or online, and it came out that a lot of those addresses were checked in police stations on police computers, and they were given away to certain people who are threatening those people. Mostly these concerned are people who are engaging themselves against fascism or Nazism, or are working for fugitives, etc. And also politicians. 2 years ago, a politician was killed by a right-winger, and we see more and more that the police in Germany is, or it seems to be that the German police is infiltrated more and more with those right-wing and Nazi stuff, and what happened this week was in the neighbor city of mine, where I'm living currently, Mülheim. 29 police officers were suspended. Meanwhile, I think half of them were fired from the spot. because they were sharing extreme right-wing content on WhatsApp and really ugly videos, etc. And and this is something which our society cannot tolerate from those people who have sworn, who have put an aid on their profession, and this is something which our society cannot tolerate. And if you look what also happened, what they shared there, as you can see here, they shared Adolf Hitler pictures and photos of gas chambers with actual fugitives in it, and something really ugly stuff, And they can see in the next slide. This one, what I was talking about was Mülheim an der Ruhr. This is Frankfurt, where also the police was involved into very strange Nazi activities. We know this from Berlin. We know this from Hamburg. We know this already from so many states. And the real big scandal here in Germany is that our Minister of the Interior, Horst Seehofer, who is in Germany known for his really strange, in some cases, right-wing orientation as well, that he refuses to start an examination in the German police, and even the German police, parts of them, of those who studied this, even those policemen wanted to have those studies, because they say there is no better shelter for those policemen or policewomen on the streets than knowing what's going on, and then playing with open cards. And Horst Seehofer doesn't see a reason to act, because he says these are only single cases. This is nothing systemic, etc. He's preventing every study, every examination, and more is coming up. And this is the big scandal which we have to deal right now in Germany. Right, and I know this is not comparable with US, but for us it is very disturbing, And if you read about people, mostly people of color or coming from other countries, if you hear their impressions about the German police, it is in some cases it is or in many cases it is really disturbing to know this, right? And to see what's going on in Germany. There's one case which happened in 2005, and there was a fugitive. It was Uri Jallo, who was taken into prison, and they mixed him with another person. That's the first point, But it seems that he was in a rage about this, and he prevented to be taken to jail. And they fixed him in the cell, and they had him fixated on the bed, and somehow they say he managed to grab a lighter from his pocket and to put his bed in the cell on fire, and he burned in his cell. The official police version is that he managed to grab. He was fixed, as I said, that he grabbed a lighter from his pocket and set his bed on fire. This is the official version of what happened to this man, And there you can see that we also have in Germany big problems about the cop culture, And I hope that sooner or later there will be so many evidence that the position of Mr. Seehofer is not any longer acceptable, and that he would start serious studies and examinations in these many cases already. What do you guys say?
Can I just say it hurts my heart, Marcus, to see Germany and you guys going through this. You know, we keep here in the U.S. we keep seeing your guys' big anti-mask rallies, and then of course the hate, and then the police. And I look to you guys as like, hey, you guys learned a valuable lesson many eons ago. You guys are the shining light of how we can, you know, correct and it just hurts my heart.
Okay, Chanda, to put the numbers right, you know, you see the demonstrations against the coronavirus, you know, and as you know, every country has its idiots, right? Right. And Germany has also its idiots, you know, because the far majority finds those demonstrations, I think more than 80% in Germany, say this is absolutely stupid and ridiculous. Those people.
That's good to know.
You know, and this is what counts, not those stupid idiots on the streets, you know. And this is the point. But we also have those idiots around, you know, and we are seeing more and more. And another phenomenon is coming from the US. Canon is putting more and more foot in Europe and in Germany especially. And this is also another thing, you know, that the people are starting to believe that politicians are drinking baby blood and all those crazy stuff, you know.
QAnon, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's the situation in Germany.
Well, I just want to clarify or make a point here. I see a lot of posts comparing the training of German police versus the police in the United States. No matter how much training anybody gets and how well they're good at their job, you're not going to train away racism. You're not going to train away sociopaths. You know, you're not going to train that stuff away. So, although it's good in educating these officers and training them, you're going to be stuck with this and the Nazi stuff and everything else. The thing that that makes me cringe the most is that we are actively recruiting ex-military into our police force. Is that who you recruit? What kind of individuals do you guys recruit?
Good that you asked, because there was a study I read a couple of weeks ago, and it says that most young people who are starting their career would like to go to the police, you know. And meanwhile, the standards to go to the police are very high. You know, you need to be, you need to have, I think. Not a college degree, but a good high school degree, you know, to get there, and you are getting a real good what's the word for Ausbildung. You get trained very well, and for a long time. I think it takes minimum 2.5 up to 3 or more years. It depends on which way you want to go. But the thing is, you know, as excellent or as good as the first years are, the frustration and all those thingies are coming with the daily work. And there's one study which said, this is a couple of years ago, which said clearly, you know, it's not the beginning, you know, it's the years which follow, you know, when you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years into this, you know, and you have always the same impression that you get the people from the street, the criminals from the street, they land in jail for a short period, and then you meet them again, and many of them feel like they're in a mouse wheel or something, in a hamster wheel, you know. And this is the point where I think should the state accompany the policeman, you know, with regularly check-ins, you know, and in how far the mindset might have changed, etc. You know, it is not, as I said, it's not with the starters, you know, it is with those who have already several years in this job. You know.
Well, that's good to know. Go ahead.
Well, what's disturbing about it is mostly not so much the numbers as the fact that those are the people with power or with weapons, and that is what lends it such a seriousness. And in the U.S., we have a similar situation. Those the people in the police have just uncontrolled power to act, and we, in addition to that, have this whole Second Amendment thing with people on the right arming themselves and feeling that they have the right to enforce law and order, and meanwhile they're killing, they maybe killing people in the process. I feel that we as progressives or people on the left should start thinking about arming ourselves in earnest as a protection, because the other side has no qualms about doing so.
Exactly.
I hear this from you, Amos. Wow.
I know, that's shocking, isn't it?
Wow.
Well,
Okay,
I've always been a militant pacifist. So
Me too.
but it shows me that you are very, very deeply worried. Meanwhile, and I know that it's not easy at this time, And coming back quickly to finish the topic, to finish the segment, there is one quote from the Minister Seehofer when it is asked about racial profiling by police, and his statement is that there is no racial profiling in praxis because it is forbidden by law. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So in his eyes, in his view, it makes any investigations obsolete. So that's the point. Here we go.
whoever, if you have any fans there of The Good Place, the TV series, there was a character there called Jason, which is a little bit of a dummy. And I remember there's a phrase there where he's like told somebody is the devil, and he says, "If you're the devil, how come you're not wearing Prada?"
Same kind of yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Social conditioning strikes again. Yeah. We gotta give a shout out here, guys, to Super Chat here. Al Walski's being quite profound. $10 from Al Walski. A Tale of Two Dorks. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. Dickens. I think he nails Biden and Trump right there, don't you think? Then we have another one from Veg with his super chat there. Let's see what we got here. We got Vegematic. Veg, scary times. We need each other for support, and this is why we're trying to be the media. We are trying to be independent media with good opinion, good dialogue, good discussion, because we're all we have. The mainstream media does not do anything for us anymore, and I don't think I'm going to get much of an argument on that. So anyway, here we go.
Absolutely right. Well, time for our second segment, and it is about COVID, right?
Yes, this is provided more as a service than anything political, but I will start it out politically because everything nowadays is political. So you have a slide at the very end, Oz, if you can find it, regarding a column just before the title card. No, just before the title card, a picture. Everybody who's followed news knows about Trump's story with Woodward, and the fact that he knew about how severe the virus was, but it was claiming that it was nothing. We should just all go back to work, because he was afraid of the effect of it on his administration, how it looks, and on the economy, and retrospectively, like in turn, how it would affect his presidency. So it's kind of similar to there's a picture there of a column at the very end before our
this one
title card.
No,
a column in front of a grocery store or a mall that's kind of broken down, and it reminded me of.
It's in the end. It's in slide 39.
39. Oh, okay. The column.
It reminded me of Trump's approach. He says now that, and his supporters say now that he did so not to panic people. So it's kind of like wrapping this thing in saran wrap and saying, I didn't want to create panic. Instead of treating the issue and having all these months that they've wasted away, and they could have done stocking of N95 masks and hospital preparation, and figuring out how to inform the public the best way. They just minimized it and pretended it didn't exist. That's not how not to panic. And besides the fact, Trump has never been one not to want to worry about panicking with his invasion from the south and all these different things that he's warned a bit about. This is not a guy who's afraid of a little panic. So anyway, I just wanted to make that remark. Now, I wanted to give you information that is not you won't hear in the mainstream media, and is very important for your self-protection and how to act with COVID. So please share it with your friends. I'll have more detailed thing on the Progressive Update channel, my channel. I'll go more in depth into it, but I wanted to give you a quick and dirty but powerful collection of aggregated information. So basically, there's evidence that the virus is much more affects tissue that is in the nose rather than in the mouth and eyes by a lot. It's basically much harder to get it through the mouth. So if you breathe more through your mouth than through your nose when you're around people, that will go a long way.
Mouth breather.
That would be me.
You also can flush your nose with saline after you have had interactions where you consider that they could have exposed you in any way. Even if you wear a mask, if you got too close or whatever, you can flush your nose with a regular flusher. There's different ones on the market, and that does improve the chances of not receiving it. You also can take supplements to stave off COVID-19 and to improve chances of survival in the long term. And I'll get into more of that in the upcoming slides. You can proceed. So basically, things that you can take and things that are medicines that do not involve mega bucks for corporations. Those were, all of this information was aggregated from various people. One of the excellent sources that I've found that is not widely popular but fantastic information is Dr. Baxter's channel on YouTube. Dr. Amy Baxter is providing really scientific, deep analysis of whatever is available knowledge-wise, and I believe she was on a CDC panel in the past, and it's very helpful. So the things that you can take is quercetin, which is a bioflavonoid. Bioflavonoids are generally non-toxic. You can take up to a larger amount without having any adverse effects, and there's no downsides to it really. So they suggested 250 to 500 milligram intake. The best way to take it is by powder. You have zinc. Zinc is an antiviral. All of these things that are before sickness are antivirals, because the way the virus operates is you have a period of inflammation, a period of viral exposure where you're exposed to the viral, and then the viral count in your body sinks and really goes down significantly, and you go to go to the second stage, which is inflammatory. So all of these things before sickness are antivirals. So quercetin, zinc, melatonin, surprisingly, is another antiviral. So you can keep taking melatonin as you would just to get a good night's sleep, at 2 milligram or whatever, 3 milligram. Statins are not only are they useful in before the sickness sets as a preventative, as an antiviral, but also throughout. So if you're on a cholesterol medication, keep taking that. That's to your benefit. Vitamin D. So far, we have evidence that vitamin D has come up. In fact, a lot of people who have a deficiency are doing worse off when they get sick. But we don't have any conclusive knowledge of how much it improves the chances beforehand. However, the fact that Black and Hispanic people are getting sick at much greater rates, and it correlates with the fact that vitamin D deficiency is 40% in white people as compared to 70% in Hispanics and 80% in the black population, means that might have something to do with it. Dr. Fauci himself, according to reports, is taking 6,000 international units, which is equivalent of 150 micrograms, way beyond what recommended dosage that is recommended openly. He's taking it daily, and that you should note of that. That's probably a good thing to, if you have any deficiency, you are older, over 50 or something, you should consider taking mega doses of vitamin D. Vitamin C, it's never been a bad thing. It helps in general in terms of your immune system. And finally, baby aspirin is also has some effects. And once you're hospitalized, of course, you would be given that, but that is what you could take on a daily basis without any bad effect. Once you're contracted, there's medications that are older medications that have proven to have some effect on the middle stage of the virus. Once you're possibly hospitalized, but you're not yet in the late stage where your body immune system goes into hyperactivity, and those include ivermectin, cholecystine, and famotidine. In the last stage, when you're hospitalized, of course, you're not going to be like mostly determining your own, but you could bring that up if you're ever in this situation. Keep taking quercetin if they allow you to. Decadron has proven to be very effective in the very last stage to avoid mortality. There's other steroids. Don't take steroids before that, because the virology stage is actually made worse if you take steroids. You could only take steroids at the very end to prevent this overwhelming of your immune system that basically starts attacking your body, and that is the main cause of death in COVID is the immune system that is just going haywire and attacking your body. Magnesium against statins and famotidine is also useful there.
And these were suggested by what source, Amos? Because we're not doctors or anything, so this is from who?
This is from various doctors, primarily Dr. Amy Baxter, another Brit doctor whose name I cannot think of right now, but this is this compilation.
I know who you're talking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. Campbell. John Campbell?
That might be the case, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's who it is.
Now, as far as masks are concerned, and again, there's going to be links to these sources in the notes, hopefully. One has to understand how masks work, and it appears that a lot of the masks that people are wearing around are not really protecting them. And yes, it can protect you, not just the people around you, from the virus, because it reduces, even if you reduce the amount of exposure to the virus by 50%, by 10%, it can reduce your likelihood of getting sick by 50%. So any barrier that you use is better than nothing. It actually improves not only that, but also herd immunity, because once you get exposed to a much lower level, the likelihood of you getting sicker, you're likely to get less sick if you're exposed to a lower number of viral particles. So anything that you do to reduce that helps. And you may be, the more people wear those masks, the more herd immunity will be built without many people getting greatly sick from it. And that's what's been happening in some countries so far, where they've been wearing masks. So definitely wear masks. If you want to make your own mask, you don't have to have an N95. You can wear other masks, and they've done research about the efficacy of several materials. The best, if you look at the first column at the very top, it shows you the N95, effectiveness, which is 85%. That is if there's no gap, and even 1% gap around the nose or the chin or wherever can greatly compromise us. And you can see that number in the second line, where it drops from 85% to 34% efficiency of filtering that virus. They've studied different materials. Cotton was not very exciting. What works best is a combination of 2 layers. 1 layer of cotton, 600 threads and up, which could be a sheet. And then another layer that is from a polymeric based textile, such as primarily chiffon, turned to be the most effective. You can see with 97% efficacy, more than N95 masks. The reason that works is if you look at the anatomy of a mask, you have particles being filtered by a big grid, which is the cotton, that filters best particles that are 300 microns and 300 nano. There's basically two grades here that it's splitting. It's splitting larger particles and smaller particles. Particles on the level of COVID-19, basically in the second column, are not filtered by the physical filtration, but rather by electrostatic filtration, and that's where those polymeric fibers do the job. So that is best if you can create a mask for yourself from cotton and chiffon. That would be ideal. There's other materials as well if you can't find chiffon. And again, there's links about from a lady that did an amazing job in terms of showing how to make those masks online. In addition to that, you can lace your fabric with antimicrobial material that's readily available in every house. That's salt, NaCl, and ascorbic acid, and those kill or prevent the virus from attaching to your receptors as well. So that is something that I would consider spraying on the cotton layer to further improve the efficacy of the mask.
We make our own masks, Amos. We use the cotton material, and then what we do is we put those little blue shop towels, we cut them into squares and use those for filters because they only let so many microns in. And they're readily available. You can get them in bulk, and they're easy to switch out, very, very inexpensive. So I think what I got out of this the most that troubles me about people who wear masks is I see every time we go out, which isn't a lot, but every time we go out, we see people wearing the mask under their nose. And it's like, are you kidding me? You know, that just defeats the whole purpose. And it's even worse, in my opinion, because you have a tendency to breathe more through your nose, where you just said breathing through your mouth might be a better way to go, particularly if you got a mask. So, again, I think that was a very good report. Thank you, Amos.
You're welcome. And I hope that you guys find it useful as well. Share that information.
Yeah, but you forgot one important information, and Snorky was so nice, and yes, you can put it on there.
Yeah, Snarky's got it here. Urinating a lot helps. If you urinate around as you walk through the grocery store, people will not invade your space. I think it'd be more than 6
good
feet.
tip.
Yeah, good tip. Thanks, Snarky. You nailed it again. Thank you.
But again, it's important to have information. That's like saying
Absolutely.
something is not a problem is not how you don't create panic. You give people as much information as possible so they can act on it and protect themselves.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and thank you, Amos. Very interesting report. And we are coming to our next segment. And at the beginning of the week, the Pew Research came out with a new report. And it was about the image of the US in the world, or not in the world, but at least within 13 close countries. In this research, they asked 13,000 people from those 13 countries what their impression about America is, Trump is, how he handles the coronavirus, etc., and in how far they see America still as a leading nation. And the numbers which are coming out are not looking that good, as you can imagine. As a matter of fact, they are pretty horrible. If you can put on slide 28, please. There we can see the ratings in several countries: UK, France, Germany, Japan, Canada, and Australia. And you can see how it went down with the beginning of the year 2000. The first peak down, especially in France and Germany, I think was the years of George W. Bush, who was not very much liked here in Germany. And this is where it peaks down at the first time. And now at 2020, we are seeing Trump at a low in all these countries. I think it is the deepest low in the ratings of the last 20 years. If you can go one slide further, there you can see what has to do with the bad image, which was shared by the countries. A lot of it has to do with the handling of the coronavirus. And if you look at the numbers, even Spain and Italy, who were hit really hard with the coronavirus at the beginning, they see the US only by 20 or 18% that they have dealt in a good way with the virus, And this is, if you look at own countries or WHO, EU, or China, the numbers are pretty different, and of course much better. Slide 30 is about the image of Trump, the image he presents in the world, or in the 13 countries which were asked. There's South Korea, who has a general favorable view of the US, but they have only 17% confidence in Trump. And the numbers, with the exception of Japan and Australia, where it's a little bit better, the numbers are mostly devastating, And it has to do with Trump, who broke too many bridges in the past, the Paris Climate Agreement, WHO, and etc. There is a lot of reasons why other countries have not much confidence in the current president. And if we go on, here's the graphic about Western Europe. There you can see exactly what I said before, where it goes down. It was Bush 2, and later it got much better with Obama, because he understood to get the people on his side, by his cool acting, hubs, etc. and stuff, in my opinion. He was regarded America and US was much regarded better when he was in office. And then you can see in 2017, when Trump took over, it went really, really low. And Yeah, and I think it is the next slide is very, very alarming in my opinion, and it has nothing to do with Schadenfreude or so that America is losing so much of its image. I think it should be worrying for Europe, for democratic thinking people. You know, if you see, you can exclude Angela Merkel, because Angela Merkel will resign next year in the fall next year. She is out, and look who you can trust. You have Emmanuel Macron, you have Boris Johnson, really, you have Putin, you have Xi, and maybe Trump if he gets reelected. You know, there is not much left in the democratic thinking world, in my opinion, right? And I think it's dramatic, you know, when you see that how much trust Johnson has and Trump has in comparison. And Johnson, sorry, he is a player, you know. He's an ice cold player, you know. And yeah, and I think it is alarming. It is not only alarming for the US, it is alarming for all democracies, you know. And if you see how many nations get more and more into a national way or in a right-wingers way, it is worrying to see these numbers, right? The next slide shows it is hardly to see. It is about the handling of the coronavirus as well, and it is in detail. The numbers are very clear. They're starting from 51 who say the handling of the coronavirus in the US was very, very bad. It goes up to 66 in South Korea, who are very experienced with dealing with viruses, etc. You know, they know what they are doing there, and it's terrible. They say it is very bad handled. You know, well, it is the chorus of those 13 countries which see that COVID was dealt very, very badly. There you can see the view on who is leading the economic power. In Europe, it changed already. Europe, a long time economic close ally and partner of the US, the majority, meanwhile, says it's China. You know, and you know, I'm no friend of the Chinese government, you know, and but it says a lot, you know, that people are trusting more a dictatorship government, you know, than on the paper democracy with Trump. Well, it doesn't look good, you know. And then the last slide shows the confidence in world leaders. It is, yeah, more or less the same what we had in the slide before. Well, look at the column for Trump. It says it all, you know. Trump has lost so much reputation for America in the world. I don't see in the near future, even if Joe Biden gets elected, that this would recover so fast, you know. And well, I think alarming numbers. What do you guys think?
I just want to say, you know, I don't think that this is surprising. I live in a global world, though. I have friends around the globe. But I think for a vast majority of Americans, including Trump's base, they've been raised and brought up in this mentality of America is number one.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck what the rest of the world thinks about us. It's just kind of like, well, screw you. We're the number one. We're the best. Yeah, this is sad because it's the truth, yet we refuse to accept it in America.
Yeah, and especially in those times, climate change, coronavirus, where we should work together as best as we can. You know, we see it's drifting more and more apart. Everywhere.
Yeah, and if you talk about working globally hand in hand, well, then your new world order and your one world, you know.
Yeah. I'm not talking about
right, but if you say that to this base, that you know, that's what they come from.
Yeah, and this is exactly the point, you know, and this is where I don't have a hint or advice, you know, because if you don't have a base, a fundament to discuss on, you know, if you don't judge scientific facts as facts anymore, but only maybe all alternative facts or something like this, then you don't have the fundament to have a communication, a discussion, a debate anymore. And this makes this so difficult.
I want to challenge one of your graphs here for validity, Marcus.
Yeah.
This one right here. You know, optically, this looks all great for Obama. But I will submit to you and everybody that people just went to asleep while he was behind the scenes, bombing more countries, stealing more resources. I just think he was just bending to the oligarchs and got away with it. Up until now, people woke up. They're going to woke, and this you're going to see the same kind of graph. If Biden happens to edge out Trump in this one, you're going to see it go up, not as high as Obama because Biden can't talk, but Harris is going to be speaking for Biden for the most of the time. So you might see this go up a while, but we're facing more challenges today than we could have ever imagined in 2008. We've got fires, pandemics, hurricanes, earthquakes down in California. Hey, everybody. We have pending doom and disaster unfolding between our eyes. You're never going to see these graphs go up. Confidence is at an all-time low. So that's the only thing I just... You know, these graphs tell you several different messages, and, you know, I wouldn't buy half of them on other than face value. So,
yeah. Well,
how about some good news?
It is like it is, you know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look good, you know. As I said, it is so difficult in so many ways, and well, and having all those bad news with the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg and all. You know, the Pew Research stuff, you know, and all the other crap. We are coming to good news, finally. And when I heard this news, you know, you can imagine, I jumped. I make a jump in the air, and I said, yeah, I want this woman. I want this woman to win this. And
I want her on Rushmore now anyway. They can kick all those people off. Put Nina on Rushmore.
Yes, definitely. And well, I would like to suggest, because we are nearly at the end of the show, to watch the interview which was made by Cenk Uygur from TYT, in which she hinted something. You all know this video already, I know, but I love to see it.
Are you thinking about 2024?
I am. I mean, there are lots of people that I hear from all the time, from all over this country, who want me to consider running again. It's always something that is on my list. But for this moment, I'm going to continue to help progressive candidates, progressive causes. I'm also going to continue to navigate the racial justice space. To do those things, so we need corporations to come on through. Now, they come through for themselves and the tax breaks and how they lobby Congress. We need them to come on through for the people. And there is a way to get those some of those corporations to do that, especially on the justice side. Since the killing of George Floyd, we know that a number of corporations have pledged a whole lot of money for racial justice. Let's see if they can do that. So I'm also going to put some of my talent on that side. But absolutely strong consideration for 2024.
Yeah. I like the chat, though. The chat is saying if she runs as a Democrat, she's finished. She has to lead a new party.
Yeah.
And this is the hope that I have for a new party, is somebody like Nina, who is so charismatic. And I mean, if you've ever listened to her give a speech live, it's like being in a sermon. It's like being in a church, man. It's like it powerful, hits you in the gut. I think she's got what Bernie was lacking in that the youth and so many different things that we needed. So there's my hope.
The timing here, I believe, is going to be perfect for her. I really do.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I hope so. And I think in the end there is no better time. And can you imagine Nina Turner would be running for the Democrats? Never ever. Not how they treated her, you know.
No way. Hell
I'd
no.
like to answer one comment quickly from the audience. Jordan, no, I'm absolutely no Obama fan. I think he was a puppet of the oligarchy, and I think he was just a good actor, you know. And that's for me, Obama. In my opinion, this guy belongs at a criminal court, you know, for all the dead people, you know, he caused in the Middle East for sending the drones. This is what I think of Obama. To clear this up, thanks. All right. Well, this was Nina, and you know I'm excited, and you can imagine, you know, if this comes out that she is really doing this, wow! I think this hopefully, and this might be a game changer, and yeah, I want this to happen.
Me too.
She's the only person I have in mind, you know, when it comes to leadership, you know, with real leadership, you know, and well. I hope for the best.
Okay.
And
I don't know if the only, but yeah, she's one of them.
Who else?
Well, the person that I was hoping that Biden was going to nominate.
Okay. Are we going to go there?
Yeah, but okay, she's not known. I did not know her before. You told us about her. I checked her, and well, she. I think she was supported by Nina Turner also, right? I think there's a connection between them, right?
Yeah.
And well, I want to see Nina.
They'll have a joint ticket.
Who are we talking about?
We're talking about Karen Bass, and Karen Bass was handpicked by Wall Street to be nominated. So go look at who her handlers are.
But she had
sponsored her. Who is running Biden's campaign? What is his name? Chris. He's terrible. He was literally ran out of the Congress for being so corrupt, and now he's head of Biden's campaign. Oz, who is it?
The fact is that they didn't select her. So.
Yeah, they didn't select her.
No, they didn't. That was a fight between the Harris campaign and that was, yeah, that was just politics. It was all politics.
It's all politics. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I'm hoping for Nina as well. We need to change this whole shit show we've got for a political system. So. Yeah.
And Keith Biden is just a flat line. You know, you should not use the term progressive with Biden together.
No. Absolutely, I agree.
Well, guys, I hope you like the show, and we're at the end. Oz will tell us what we're having next week, and I would like to thank Chanda, Amos, and of course Oz for being with me, for doing the show, and yeah.
Oz, give us our regards, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Yes. Dennis, I gotta say, takes a break. I don't know how long or if he's returning. His grandfather died 2 weeks ago, and his sister got in an accident, in a car accident. I don't know. She's well up, but he has a lot of trouble at the moment, and so he decided to take at least a break.
Okay. I also wanted to thank everybody who supports us here, and I hope that you find what we provide here in terms of discussion and information useful to you.
Yeah. Okay, Oz, what are we having next week?
Well, yeah, before I start, Mark Burns is looking for John. So, John, jump in anytime. I'll give my camera for anybody. So, yeah, tonight we've got a very big show. We've got what do we got tonight, Chanda?
We've got Beauty and the Boomer After Dark.
Yeah, Shanda's producing that for tonight. What are we going to talk about tonight?
Oh, we're going to cover it all. Let's see, what do we got on there? We got some Biden stories. We got some QAnon stories.
Oh shit!
We're gonna talk a little bit about QAnon. I don't know. We're going to, we're a little bit more free and opened over at Beauty and the Boomer. It's kind of a Saturday night kickback type thing. So you never know what we're going to talk about over there.
It's a chit chat, have fun discussion. And Marcus, Amos, you guys are welcome to join in anytime. Let us know. We've got the Daily Dive Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Amos is going to be joining us this week. We're going to figure out what day or days he's going to come on. Yay. And Amos is talking about starting his own show. You want to tell us what you have in mind, Amos?
I'm thinking of a show that is going to be more like just topical every time discussing a particular topic or maybe a couple of topics, but diving deeper into those. We'll see. I don't have a name for it yet. If you guys have any suggestions, you can tweet to me at @Elroy, and we'll see.
That sounds great. And then, as usual, check out Savage Joy, The Unruly Hour. She's popping on. She's had a lot of great guests. This week, she's got some more great guests. She had Jordan Cheriton on last night, I think.
Oh, I missed it?
Yeah. It was just a short pop-in, but she's got some guests coming up this week that are going to be of interest, and I don't have a card yet, so I don't know who they are. But, yeah. Anybody that wants to come and join on the dive, send me an email at rawmedialive.com. And thank you for your support. We appreciate the chats. We appreciate Patreons. And I'm so happy that No Joke is back. Thank you, Marcus and Amos and Chanda.
Thank you.
I missed my brothers. I'm glad you guys are back.
Miss you too.
Miss you too.
All right, guys. Then have a great weekend. Yeah. Try to keep your head up, and we are going out with Joker and the Thief. Bye-bye.
Bye.
say, tell me about the story on the Joker and the thief. I say,